viewers, this is Pushkala and we are going to see the difference between autoencoders and variational autoencoders. So first, let's see what is autoencoder and variational autoencoder in a very short form. So autoencoders, when inputted with a certain set of images, it encodes those certain images into a numerical format where we call this as latent vector or any numerical vector for that sense. So we convert that again to a decoder, and from that, when a new image is generated, it is one of those images from that dog data set. So a new, the system, the machine, the autoencoder learns from the dog images, and it learns to generate a new images, new dog image from that. That is what this autoencoder does. So what variational encoder does? It has a certain training process. The training process, whereas it is similar to autoencoder itself, but during the generation process, it has a certain sampler technique. This sampler will take one of the vectors from the generated by the encoder, and when tuned slightly, this can provide various different outputs. So this is what the sampler is all about. So why are we seeing a difference between autoencoder? The first thing is it is going to both learn from these vectors, that is for sure. The decoder is going to learn from this vector and it is going to reconstruct the image that we are going to display it as the output. So this is for same. Autoencoder and the variational autoencoder does the same. It is going to decode one of the vectors and reconstruct it. So that is the same for both. But the autoencoder does not generate new images. It does not generate new images. So that is what is the main difference from autoencoder. Autoencoder can read one of the vectors, but it cannot generate new vectors because we will not know how to pick a vector from this. If we are going to give the vector input by ourselves, it will be a jumbled numerical array and the reconstructed output will be the same, a jumbled image. Will not get a certain dog image from this. So using the auto-deconstructed for auto-encoders for generating a new image is not quite possible. Whereas in variational encoder, it has the generative process by itself. By using the sampler, we can fine-tune this vector obtained from the sampler to get whatever it is the output we want. The generation process is possible in here. We can generate new images in here. The sampler just takes one of the vectors that is encoded from the encoder, and we can fine-tune those vectors into whatever images we want. And one more thing is how this reconstructional loss is minimized. So when working with both of these models, we are going to minimize the reconstructional loss. Reconstruction loss. What this reconstruction loss is, whenever we give an input, the output has to be at least similar to the input. We have to make sure the output and the input does not differ so much. That is what we call it as reconstruction. We give an input image, we train the data with, train the model with that image, and we expect a similar kind of image. So that is what we call it as minimizing reconstruction loss. We do that in both of the encoders. Whereas in autoencoder, we have a specific other one called latent loss. This latent loss is nothing but when the sampler picks out one of the vectors and we are going to fine tune it, how the sampler is going to pick the vector. It is, let's say the vector follows normal distribution. Assuming we know what is normal distribution, I'm not drawing a distribution here. Assuming the vector follows a normal distribution, the sampler is going to pick one of the mostly used points here, so that the algorithm generated images will be a little bit higher quality than the others. So this is what is a main variation between autoencoder and variational autoencoder is. Thank you. And if you have any doubts, leave it in the comment section.